On FM,
online
and digital.
Your voice in your county.
This is BBC Wiltshire.
9 o'clock, BBC Wiltshire News, Claire Bailey.
Today is National Tell a Story Day. We want to talk about the art of storytelling and if we are any good at telling stories now with all the many ways that we have to communicate. And why do we tell stories? Well, to answer that question, we can speak to Dr. Andrea Miliano, lecturer in evolutionary anthropology at UCL. Good morning.
Good morning.
From your point of view, what is the power of storytelling for our development?
Well, storytelling has been and still is very important in human evolution because it promotes lots of behaviors and passes important behaviors from generation to generation. So you have to remember that we only have very recently had written language. So telling stories is a way to pass information that is very powerful and teach children and the next generation.
And you've been doing lots of work in this area, working in the Philippines. Tell me about that.
Yes, so I've been working in the Philippines since 2001, and not specifically on storytelling. I work with this group of populations, the Agta, who are hunter-gatherers. So they serve as a model to understand how people behaved and how they adapt to their environment before agriculture. And storytelling really happened by chance. I was collecting stories together with my son, because I always go with my family to study this population, because he wanted to have a collection for the kids, the Agta kids, of books written in their own language and their own stories. And in doing that, I realized that lots of the stories were about cooperation and sex equality, which is really important for hunter-gatherer populations, and how people should behave. And then one of my PhD students picked up and started doing research on the importance of the storytelling for these people.
Right. And do you think that we gather information in a different way once it's told to us, rather than reading it?
Yes, I think it's also, you can pass messages that are not very direct, so you can understand how people behave and adjust without having to be told. And so, for instance, there is a story there that I think is very powerful, and the Agta tell that story, and it's also common, similar ones in other hunter-gatherer populations, which is the story of the sun and the moon. And the sun is the male and the moon is the female. And they're fighting to illuminate the sky. And of course, the sun is very powerful. And the moon can never beat him. But one day she uses the power over the water and the sea to throw water on the sun. And then she becomes the dominant force. Wow. So then they decide they're equally powerful and they have to split. So she illuminates in the night and he illuminates in the day. And this really influences the Agta because they only get married on the full moon when men and women have the same power.
Oh, wow.
So you see how this influences the culture and tells important message, but not directly.
Yeah, so if you were to sit down and have a conversation about gender equality, it would be a very different thing. But doing it through storytelling, you can really communicate. Well, thank you for joining me. Great to have you on. Really appreciate it. That is Dr. Andrea Miliano, lecturer in evolutionary anthropology at UCL. The importance of storytelling, what we can learn, what we can understand about ourselves and the world around us through actually sitting down and telling a story. We're going to keep discussing this. We're actually going to be at a school later where some young students are